We're back with Facebook again. Not sure why that just dropped off like that, but it did, and it is what it is. And so we're just adjust. And you know what? Life's like that. When things happen that are unexpected, which they can occur, that we just have to let it go with the flow and adjust. And so that's what I did right there. Okay, so we're talking about evening rituals. We're talking about action items, accountability items, and I've already mentioned five rituals for the evening. I talked about asking yourself, now that my dream is fulfilled, how do I feel? Talked about the revision process. I talked about the Power Life Script evening version, the quiet version. I talked about an identity board, and I talked about the 6 things that you will do the next day. Now, there are other things, little things that you can do. You can look at your goal card. If you have a goal card, I always keep mine right beside my bed. Look at your goal card just before you go off into sleep. Some people like to write before they go to sleep, and they'll write different affirmations, or they'll write their goal statement out. That's another great exercise to do before bed. Some people love to read from powerful and empowering materials, books, and so they'll read before they go into bed. But either way, what you're thinking about in those moments just before you drift off into sleep is going to be so impressionable on your mind that you really want to be paying attention to what you're thinking about and what you're doing before you go to bed. Okay, now we're going to head over to the questions that has been that are coming in. Thank you, Lorraine. I appreciate you saying that. I appreciate you very much. Thank you for thanking me. Hi again, Adele. Sorry, I don't know why the Facebook Live just stopped, but it did. Okay, let's get over to our questions. We have a lot of questions that have been submitted, and I want to make sure I answer as many as I possibly can for you. And these are all really great questions, and you may or may not have had these questions, but I think if you stick around for this part of the call, you're really going to be glad that you did. Okay, so first question was asked by Murray. Murray is saying, should my goal only have one goal, or should it have both goals on it? Your thoughts would be greatly appreciated. We own a beautiful 650-acre farm in rural Queensland, taking it to auction in the coming months. Goal number 1, sell our property for the amount we would like so as to relocate to the small property on the coast. Goal 2, purchase a new 4-acre property and beautiful home on the Queensland coast, i.e. sea views, semi-retirement, similar dollars involved. Okay, great. So they're in harmony. So what I hear, Murray, is that you're looking to sell the property and then buy the other property. So you could have a goal statement that says something like, I'm so happy and grateful now that we have purchased, and I would put the purchase first. I'm so happy and grateful now that we purchased our beautiful 4-acre, you can describe it as you wish, and that we easily sold, our previous, and what do you call it? How did you say it? Rural Queensland, 650 acres. We previously sold our previous property for more than what we desired. We're happy and grateful for all transactions as they all occurred harmoniously, smoothly, and easily, and for the good of all concerned. It could be something like that. So write a statement. It's really one statement, but for you, it's going to have you selling the previous property and purchasing the new property. So thank you for asking, Murray. That was a great question. Lindy says, how long can it take to get into the state of the wish fulfilled? I love that question, Lindy. Thank you so much for asking. And the answer to that question is, bam, it could be like that, just like that. It doesn't have to take any time at all. And the reason is because if I ask you right now, Lindy, whatever your goal is, assume that it's already been fulfilled. Just do that right now. What occurred? Well, your imagination occurred. You started to think about you having that goal or having that manifestation. Same thing with Murray. It's done. So Murray, imagine that it's done. Okay, you've sold your place, you bought this new one, you're happy, you love it, it's perfect, it's wonderful, and everything happens smoothly, easily, and harmoniously. So that can happen like bam, in a second, in a matter of a second. So that's how long it takes. And I suggest you don't take a lot longer than that. It's not necessary to take a lot longer than that. If it is taking longer than that, you are simply getting in your own way. Okay, thank you for that. Tanya, how do you prevent yourself from going down the rabbit hole of worrying around money while carrying out your morning rituals? How do you stop the stinking thinking? I love your question, Tanya. Thank you so much for asking. Well, what you do is you get into the habit of being ready to switch away from what you don't want over to what you do want. So you create tools. And one of those tools would be a very simple tool, and I'll suggest this one to you. It's a tool that I've used anytime I start going down a rabbit hole, as you said, of concern or worry. I just ask myself a very simple yet powerful question. What would I love? What would I love? And the moment I ask myself that question, what would I love? Obviously, it's going to take my attention away from what I don't want, and it's going to put my attention over to what I do want. So that's what you want to do. You want to take your attention away and do it like that, like fast, fast, fast. Get really good at it. How you get good at it is by conditioning. Now, there are other things that you can do. I remember years ago, there was an exercise where you could put a rubber band around your wrist, and you snap it anytime you think something negative. I'm not a big fan of that. But, I've done it, many years ago, probably back in the 80s. And I do find it is effective because your wrist is going to get sore, right? Keep snapping that and snapping that and snapping that. You'll end up with a nice red wrist. So that might break the pattern of thinking negatively. But what happens is we're habitual thinkers. We're in patterns of thoughts. Excuse me. We're in patterns of thinking. So you want to stop the patterns, right? You want to interrupt them with a new way of thinking. Asking yourself an empowering question is a great way to do it. All right, the next question is from Tamara. Tamara says, I noticed that you have an accountability group you speak to each morning to discuss your goals, etc. I know this is Think and Grow Rich as the mastermind group. It has been hard for me to find such supportive friends or people that are willing to do this daily. Stop saying it's hard. It's simple, but the moment you think it's hard, it is. If you think it is, if you think it isn't, you're right. Until I can find this mastermind group, am I missing out on not fulfillment of my dream? No, you are not. You don't have to have a mastermind group. It's wonderful to have a mastermind group, but you don't have to have one. So it sounds like Tamara's doing everything except that step. It's okay. You don't have to. It's not about doing all these things. What the manifestation process is all about is how are you feeling? That's the priority. All right. So if you're just walking around all day long, living in a dreamlike state, connecting to your outcomes as if they're here, bam, you got it. Like you nailed it. If you're using Power Life Script and that's the thing that's putting you into that state and the connection and the embodiment of your ideal life, then great. Do it and do it over and over and over again until you feel it as it's natural. So it's not about what are you doing. This is really about manifestation is about what you're feeling. All right. My second question, this is Tamara again, is sometimes I feel body sensations. I used to physically vibrate a lot, but not as intense anymore. It was more so when I was actively meditating, but I know I feel these subtle sensations that is hard to explain, but I'm thinking it's because of all the positive things I do to listen to your videos, read your books, etc. Also listen to Abraham Esther Hicks, and they mention it means your energy is moving and it will eventually go away, and it's not a good thing or a bad thing. I try to look at it as a positive thing, but then I get worried I don't feel it as often and thinking maybe it means I'm off track. Have you ever experienced this, and do you see it as evidence that I'm moving in a positive direction? Well, the vibration, is it a feel-good vibration? Is it something that is causing you to feel good? Then if so, great. It's putting you in alignment, I suspect. And I suspect what's going on is it's your paradigms. Because when we're changing ourselves, when we're conditioning ourselves to think differently, when we're conditioning ourselves to feel differently, which is really we're looking to produce better results, there's a change going on inside our emotional body, our physical body, our spiritual body. There's a change going on, and very likely that's why you're experiencing the vibration. And whether it's happening, sometimes not at all, maybe it's not happening more, that's okay. I wouldn't be concerned about it at all. It could be that you're getting more into a natural state of knowing that it's already done. And if so, that's a wonderful place to be. So thank you for asking. The next question, it's Tamara again. Do you renew your 700 plus domain names every year? I specialize in search engine optimization. I used to create niche sites, but some old sites don't produce anymore, and or domains have been penalized by Google algorithms, etc. So I often debate whether or not it's worth to renew. Just curious. Yeah, I renew almost all of them. And so that's obviously several $1,000s every year of renewals. And I'm adding more. I added another one this morning and probably a couple yesterday. And so sometimes I'll look at them because I get statements from Google that say they're coming up for renewal. And I will decide if I'm going to keep them or not. Sometimes I let them go, but I would say the majority of them I absolutely renew. Next one is from Mary, and she says, does your C-type goal get more logical after you've accomplished the first one? That's a great question. Not necessarily. And I think it's, interpretation of what is a C-type goal. But I do know this, that when you set your, let me just, for those of you that don't know what a C-type goal is, a C-type goal is a goal that scares and excites you at the same time. So it's going to stretch you. I like to call them stretch goals. And I have found over time that as I've set stretch goals and achieved those stretch goals, there's still fear involved, right? Because you're producing something you've never done before. So you're starting to feel differently and vibrate differently. And then, of course, it can be a scary situation. And so I find that do they become even greater goals or more stretch goals? Maybe. I do find that the results just keep getting better and better all the time. I also have found, and I think you'll appreciate this, that when you are into an active goal creation, manifestation mode, which I've now been in for many, many years, that you'll realize that nothing is impossible. And that's pretty exciting. It's exciting when you discover what that incredible power is that's within you. So I think there's so many tremendous benefits from all of that. Okay, Vishma says, what do you do when you get a negative response from the people or a situation? Just let it go. We're always in control of how we feel. I have a great ability to just let things go real fast. I don't harbor negative emotions, bad emotions. I don't hold resentment or anger because it's destructive for me. It's incredibly destructive for a human being to hold on to negative emotions. So I've learned that over the years of my study, and I've just made a clear decision to let it go, recognizing that I am the one that's in charge of how I feel, always, in all ways. All right, next question is from Asha. Asha says, I so love your house stories. My concern is, can I manifest a house that I wanted to buy but sold to someone else but canceled the deal due to a wrong decision? Can I manifest a house back? Sure, if you want. Sure, that or something better. So absolutely. So what you could do is just declare that you have purchased it back and that it was a transaction that was pleasing for all. And then you could say that it's either that house or something better. You gotta remember that when we set intentions, and this has been just an incredibly wonderful experience for me. I remember years ago I bought a house and I bought it off a builder. And it was a beautiful, like, one-story home with a triple-car garage, and it had marble fireplace and gorgeous hardwood floors and ceramic countertops and beautiful fireplaces. It was just a gorgeous, gorgeous home on a nice piece of land. And I bought the home off a builder, and I had another home, prior to that, which I had on the market for sale. And when I purchased the home from the builder, we put a condition in the deal. And the condition was, as soon as my house sold, we would firm up the deal and I would move into the new bungalow that was being built. And so I was very actively involved in choosing all the different things for this home, the type of marble and the granite countertops and the flooring. And I got to choose it all, which was a really fun experience. So I was obviously emotionally involved in the home. Well, what happened was after a couple months or a few months had gone by, the market was increasing. The real estate market was increasing, which is a good thing. But I hadn't sold my house yet, the one that I was in at the time. And I decided, well, I'm going to keep that house. I'll rent it out and I'll just firm up the deal on my beautiful home that I was purchasing. So I went to the builder and I said, I'm going to firm up the deal and remove the condition, which was my legal right. And the builder said, sorry, I'm not going to sell you the house. I said, what do you mean? We have a legally binding contract. The only condition was that I had the option of removing this condition or selling my home. And she said, too bad, sue me. And I remember at the time being like blown away. First of all, completely out of integrity, which is certainly not someone I'd want to deal with anyways, but It was completely out of integrity, and I was upset. And I was sad because I was in love with this home. But I realized that something better was in store for me, and I just let it go. I mean, I was upset at the moment. I went home. I even cried, let it go. It's like, okay, gone, right? Just let that emotion go. And then she had mentioned, it was interesting because the builder had told me the reason why she didn't want to firm the deal up was because she felt the market had gone up and she felt she could get more money for the house that she had sold me. So she was going to relist it on the market for a lot more money. And then she compared it to another house that was for sale, which I wasn't aware of because I wasn't looking for another house for sale. So she mentioned another house that was backing onto a golf course, on a private golf course. And it was sitting on a beautiful piece of land, and it was a beautiful home. And it was an older home. And so I went on the internet and I found this home. And it's like, wow, it looks really interesting. And it needed some decoration, and it needed some renovations and things like that. So I called the real estate agent and he took me to see the home. I walked in the front door and I had a total head to toe goosebump experience. I knew I was going to buy this home. And I could tell my son loved it as well. I wasn't even married to Denny at the time, so we're going back a number of years ago now. But I just knew I was going to buy this home. And I said to the real estate agent, I said, we're going to buy this home. He said, do you want to see the rest of it? I hadn't even seen the whole house. And I said, sure. So we went and saw the house, and I put an offer and I bought that house, and we renovated it, and it was beautiful, and ended up selling it several years later. But the point is that the house that I originally had intended didn't come to fruition. But I got something even better, even more beautiful. It was a gorgeous home on a really beautiful piece of land. So something better came along. So sure, set the goal to manifest that house back. But if it doesn't occur, just know something better is going to come along. All right, now we have a few more questions. We'll just wrap up with those. And then we'll okay, here we are. Yasir says, is it all right to have as many affirmations, including the fulfillment of a specific goal? Yes, it is. You can have multiple affirmations for the same goal. Or should we stick with one affirmation? Have as many as you want. Yasir says, do you have any tips on developing the imagination? Yeah, I was talking about that in the beginning of the call. Do these practices, like actively invest the time to focus only on what you want. Genevieve says, when I'm listening to my Power Life script all day, I get so excited. Is there such a thing as getting too excited? I get giddy like a kid in a candy store. I like that, Genevieve. That's good. I think what'll happen, though, is you'll get to a point where you'll just know it's done and you'll feel it naturally, and you probably won't be getting giddy because it's just like, oh, this is already done. So it's good. It's a progression. That's what I see here. Okay, somebody called I Am Here to Serve. I love that. What a great name. Me too. I am here to serve. You recently hung out with Bob Proctor. What was the biggest insight after years of working close and succeeding like you have? I would say, there's two things that come to mind as far as biggest insights. And the first one is, and it's one that I learned from Bob 40 years ago, and it goes like this. He says, decide what you want, but you don't have to know how you're going to get it. And I just love that whole idea. Just decide what you want. Connect to what it feels like to already have it. Just decide. And because so many people just don't even set a goal because they don't know how they're ever going to achieve it. And they don't pursue that goal because they don't know how they're ever going to achieve it. You don't have to know how. So that is a great lesson I learned from Bob. And then another one is that stay in the study. Like, it's essential. It's like the air you breathe. To really be in the study, stay in the study. It's absolutely important. I remember one time someone asked Bob Proctor this question. They said, how do I speed up my results? And he said, increase your awareness. How do you increase your awareness? You increase your awareness by staying in the study. Thank you, Celine. I just saw your comment. That's why I'm laughing. I love that. Okay, Mark says, you mentioned in the last stream that with Bob, you had to handle suicidal thoughts. What affirmations did you use? I have an abusive past that resembles yours. I am battling the paradigm. Wow, Mark, that's thank you so much for asking the question. I love that. I honestly don't remember what the affirmation was back then that I said to myself, maybe I'm worthy of living, I'm worthy of life. My life gets better and better all the time in every way. It was probably something simple like that. I mean, I was 17. I'm 61 years of age right now, but I was 17 when I was suicidal, and 17, 18 time frame. And by the time I met Bob, I was 19, 20. I mean, I wasn't much better, but at that point, I wasn't sitting on a park bench thinking, how am I going to end it all? I was, but still pretty miserable. So it was a simple affirmation, I'm sure. My life gets better and better every day in every way. It could be something like that. I still say that affirmation today, by the way. It's such a good affirmation. All right, Peter says, how about saying affirmations while falling asleep? Like, I'm a happy and healthy multimillionaire. Perfect, Peter. That is a great thing to do. Absolutely. Jennifer says, I am lost. Where can I start to create positive change in my life? Right here. Study, Jennifer. Go online. I received an email the other day from Sonova, who's actually on the call. It wasn't an email, it was a little message that she wrote saying that she's been studying everything I've done. I have so much content on my YouTube channel. Go there and start studying. I believe I've created probably 500 little videos. You can go there and just start to study, saturate your mind with really, really good stuff. Okay, guys, well, this is a wrap for today. I'm so delighted that you're here to join me. We're going to be back next week. We're going to be doing some more live events. Please watch for the notifications of those events. We're here to serve you. We're going to be answering questions again. I just love being with you. I love serving you. I love helping you experience more of everything that you deserve to experience in your life. If you're not a subscriber to my morning manifestation messages, they're free, delivered 3 times a week. Please go to morningmanifestation.com. Celine, is that link working? I know it was sort of out of order there for a little bit, but please go to morningmanifestation.com and you'll be able to register for that. Maylin just typed in a question here. I'm just going to get to Maylin's question before we answer. She says, or before we wrap up, she says, how do you feel as far as making things happen, allowing things to happen? Well, force never works. So we can't force anything. And I don't know whether that's what you mean or not. You can't force, you have to allow it. But there's work that we have to do. And the work that is responsible for us to do is to, yay, the link is working great. Thank you, Trace. The work that we're required to do is to make decisions on what we'd love, to get connected to what does that feel like now that we have it, doing things like the Power Life script, being a part of my community for Pure Magic Monthly, staying in the study. These are all really, really good things that you can be doing to allow. And really what you're doing is you're allowing the universe to make these things happen for you, but you're working in harmony with the laws. That's what you want to really be doing. And it's not about force. It is about a concentrated effort. It's about using your will. It's about using your imagination. It's about trusting your intuition. It's about really tapping into all of these things, connecting to your goals as if they're already materialized emotionally. All of that is absolutely essential. All right, guys. Well, I'm so grateful to be here with you. I wish you a wonderful day. I look forward to being back again with you very, very soon. Okay. Bye for now.